Hey guys, Nick from the Bass Hookup, and in today's video we have to cover it. Everyone's done it, but it's won a ton of tournaments, so we have to cover this on this channel. It's the mid-strolling technique. So stay tuned, we're gonna go over all that. If you're new to the channel, we give away half our YouTube income every single month. All you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment, and at the first of every month in that video, we're gonna do the giveaway. You get half our YouTube income. The more we grow, the more we give away. So that's how this channel works. We try to give you a bunch of information as much as we can. So, mid-strolling technique, let's get to talking about how you do that, what it's all about, and you know what, does it really work in California? It does a little bit, but our bass are a little bit different. So honestly, I'll cover that right now because I've tried it all over the place, Berryessa, Folsom, Comanche, and at those places I just haven't had a ton of success on it. You know, other lakes, if you watch Bassmaster Live and you're there in Texas and they're catching these fish in big, you know, 8-9 pound largemouth on it, these little minnow baits on the mid-strolling technique, they're catching them in 40 foot of water, but those fish are suspended all the way up and they're like 5 foot under the water or 10 foot. So I don't know, I haven't seen that in our lakes, but there are situations here where you could catch them, and I'm going to show you that today. So let's get started. A bunch of fish right out here. Oh, here comes one. Got him. Mid-strolling. There we go. Jaw dropper. Nice one. Nice fish right here. That water's clean. Mid-strolling the jaw dropper. Go. I'm gonna show you guys a different bait that I have on there too. It's a D-bomb, not a D-bomb, Missile Baits D-bomb right there. Works really good with that little flapper tail, because as you're twitching it, the flapper tail kind of slows it down from falling. But that on the jaw dropper head, if you want to give that walk the dog action under the water, just give it a couple quick twitches, it'll walk the dog. Pretty fish right there. Thank you, sir. All I'm doing is casting it out there and just popping the slack in my line and reeling at the same time. Just popping the slack, reeling at the same time, getting that bait to just wobble back and forth and kind of flicker in the water like a lone bait fish, just out there kind of glittering and flickering out there, drawing them in. That's all you're doing with this thing. And this right here has won more tournaments in the last year than I think any bait. Just this technique right here. And if you guys want to check out the head a little bit more, if you guys watch Bass Geek, go to Bass Geek YouTube. He does a great job explaining the jaw dropper and catches a bunch of fish on it too. But jaw dropper right there, I need to get my Lowrance keyed back in, wipe off the slime the fish left on there. But yeah, that's the bait, the jaw dropper. That lip, it just gives it that action on the pop, so it is perfect for this mid-strolling technique. I mean, it's a perfect head for it. And I'm throwing mine on, I got P-line Spin-X braid to a P-line Spin-X fluorocarbon leader. I think I'm throwing, this is the 9 pound, because they come in 5 pound, 7, 9. This is the 9 pound leader right here. One thing with the mid-strolling technique, it is kind of important to have forward facing sonar. So for you guys that don't have it, you know, you could still probably do it if you know where the fish are located. But without forward facing sonar, it's very, very hard to find these suspended largemouth during the spawn, during the fall. It's just always been really hard or almost impossible to catch these suspended fish because you don't know where they're at. You're not casting to them. So it's been very, very hard. All right, while we're sitting here and we're in some calm, wind protected area, helicopter going by making a little bit of noise, but I'll go over this technique. It's the mid-strolling technique. I'm throwing the jaw dropper first gen fishing jaw dropper head. As you can see, it has that unique lip design on there. That gives that bait a lot of action, especially when you pull it and you jerk it. It walks the dog back and forth underwater a lot. It also has a stout little hook on it, a 90-degree line tie, which is important. And then I'm throwing it with a Missile Baits D-bomb. But for this technique, mid-strolling, it's basically what it sounds like. So it sucks, but to really be proficient at this technique, you need forward-facing sonar. So if you don't have forward-facing sonar, you could try this if you know where their fish are at. But like I said, it's very hard to know, where they're at in that water column if you can't actually see them in real time out there. So what we're doing is, this pre-spawn, this is a big bay right here. Deepest out here is like 15 feet, but out in the middle of the lake, it's like 50 feet. So this thing's all shallow. They're coming up here, they're staging, and they're suspending over these weed beds. So when I see one, I'm gonna cast it out there. I'm gonna find my bait falling down on forward facing, and I want this bait to go over their head. The bass are always looking up. Their eyes are on the top of their head, so I want to track this bait on my forward facing, and I'm twitching it just like this. I'm not giving it big pulls, just twitching the slack in my line, watching that bait on forward facing sonar and watching it come right over their head. Thought I had one. Let it go down the weeds, but you're just twitching it just like that, and this thing is just dancing, just barely just twitching like a little bait fish right in their face. And so a lot of times these fish that aren't even that hungry out here, that are suspended, will come up and eat it, even though they're not really wanting to eat anything. They just see this and they eat it just because it's staying in their face, almost like a Senko, right? So Senko, you get a lot of bites on the fall, most bites on the fall on the Senko. This is kind of the same thing, except for you're moving it along, but the bait's staying in their face. You're trying to get it to stay right in their face. And so right here, I have like 4 or 5 fish sitting right out here. I don't know if they'll cooperate, but what I'm going to do is I'm letting my bait go down to them. They're suspended, and I'm going to bring it right over their heads and just twitching it just like that, just twitching it ever so slightly. And if you see them following your bait and they don't bite it, I'd say within the first 10 feet, I'm going to cast it back out and do it again, because I don't want to draw that school of fish to me. I don't want to draw those fish all the way to the boat, because once they get to the boat, you're done. They're not going to bite. And that's why you see on TV like Bassmaster Live and all those guys, they're making a lot of casts to, one fish, because sometimes you don't get it to where they even see it. So again, I'm just throwing it to the fish when I could see them and trying to bring this thing right over their heads, right over their heads. But the key thing is you have to stay over their heads for them to see it. So again, if you don't have forward facing, it's going to be really difficult to use it. But this technique has won so many stinking tournaments in the last, year, probably longer, probably more than a year, but it's won so many tournaments. Ever since forward facing came out, you could really watch your bait, and these guys are targeting these suspended pre-spawn big females out there that before they're really unfishable. I mean, before you didn't know they were out there and suspended out in 20 foot of water, and they're sitting suspended up way up high in the water column. No one knew that, right? So it's a whole new, basically like fishing a whole new pond, whole different body of water when you're doing it, because it's so different. You're fishing for fish that haven't seen a bait, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but as long as they keep letting these guys do it in the elites, it's what we're gonna have to watch. I mean, I'm really looking forward to them going to different lakes where maybe forward facing is not going to play that big of a part, but in reality, it really doesn't matter where they go. It's going to play a part, right? I mean, even if they're bed fishing, they're going to be using scout mode, which is basically like a 180-degree view out in front of the boat and see, they're gonna see beds. Scott Martin already won a tournament doing that.
Got him. Big one, dude. Giant one. Yes. Have it, baby. Just one fish at a time, baby.
So no matter what we want, that stuff's gonna come into play. But I'll tell you, it is super boring to watch Bassmaster Live. For me anyway, it's just really boring because they're looking at the screen the whole time. So it's really just hard to watch. You know, I don't know about you guys. Leave a comment below if you like that and you're still able to watch Bassmaster Live. Good on you. I mean, I still will watch it. I just want to see what they're doing, the techniques and things like that. But this right here, this is the main technique. They're using a ball head, but I'm using the first gen fishing jaw dropper. I mean, it was basically made for this technique, made for vertical jigging and doing this right here and working it back to the boat. You can throw a swim bait on it and just reel it like that, but it's made for straight tail worm, doing just like what you see us doing me doing right here. And you catch a ton of fish. And I'm throwing it on, like I said, I have braid to a leader, but I'll go straight fluorocarbon as well. And you want light line, you want like 8, 6 milking. I heard, you know, him saying sometimes he throws 4, which is, I mean, that's 4 pound. Talk about light, that's light. But I will say, the lighter the line, the more bites you get, I think. And he's been doing really good in these tournaments, so that might be the advantage he has, that really light line. One more thing, you want a very limber rod. You want the rod tip to have a lot of just bounce to it, a lot of flex. All right, so you want like a medium light action rod. This is a Stealth Sticks rod, spinning rod, super sensitive. But again, I mean, for this technique, all you're gonna do is you're gonna be just popping the slack line, and I don't really ever feel a doink. I'm actually kind of relying on my forward facing to see the fish come up, my bait and that fish become one ball, and I'm just twitching. I kind of pull up and they're on there. So that's all there is to it. It's not very difficult, honestly, but you got to get good at your electronics, and you got to have the electronics. Otherwise it is very difficult without that. All right, let's get back to catching some fish. Got him. Mid-stroll. That feels like a good one. Listen on my drag here. Whew. Strong. That's another good fish. Seeing him on the forward facing. Actually, a group of them again. Oh yeah. Put him in the sunlight here. Fatty. Right there. Jaw dropper hanging out of his face. Pretty fish. Mid-strolling. Like I said, won more tournaments over the last year than any other bait, really. Pretty crazy. But again, is it fun to watch? Nah, not really, but that's a super healthy fat fish right there. Let him go. Again, right there on the jaw dropper head with that missile D-bomb. It's a good looking pairing right there. Man, there's a bunch of back there. Like where I caught that fish, it's a bunch of them. Let's see if I get another one. Yep. Got another one. Dude, oh, dude, fat. Nice one again. Oh, might be bigger than the last one. Jaw dropper, baby, mid-strolling. Basket kind of let the cat out of the bag on this one. We've been selling a ton of them since his video. Actually, I think Tackle Warehouse sold out a couple times. But they also have them in Walmart. Gosh, this fish is nice fish. Nice fish. Stay pinned, stay pinned. Barely pinned. Come here. Ah, yeah. There we go. Another one right there. Barely pinned. I did a horrible hook set. Pretty fish right there though for springtime. Let them go. Jaw dropper. And you can throw different baits on here too. I might go and try to throw something else on here. After a while, we'll see if the bite kind of slows down or something. But for now, that pairing right there is working pretty good. Like I said, that's a 3/16 ounce head, Mustad ultra point hook, and then the little, I think it's electric shad D-bomb, but the tail you can see is flat. So the way I put it on, when it's falling, this is flapping up and down like that as you're twitching it. Where are y'all at? There you are. Oh, got one. See? Thought I had a weed again. Gosh, these are nice ones. Oh my gosh, that's the best one yet. Oh my goodness. Screaming drag. Oh my gosh. 5-pounder. Oh! Well then. Just want to come off like that, huh? All right. To get one of your buddies. Darn it. Darn it. Gosh, that was a good one. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it. Quick little video on how to mid-stroll or do the mid-strolling technique. What do you guys think about it? I mean, like I said, you really need forward facing. And what do you guys think about forward facing in these big tournaments? Like I said, I don't really have a stance on it. I mean, I'd use it, I wouldn't use it. I grew up fishing, you know, with paper graphs, and then, you know, I got my own boat and I stayed on the California Delta for 12 years straight. So no, I mean, I don't need any graphs to do that. That's why I love fishing the Delta. It's always changing. I don't need to come out and do a search for fish on the fish finder or get beat by some guys with forward facing sonar. I mean, I like it. It's fun. It's definitely super fun to catch crappie. I haven't used it on other you know, probably stripers, lakes with stripers in it. I'm sure it's super fun. But that's how you do mid-strolling technique. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon.